Hey, welcome to your horoscopes for the week. These are the horoscopes for the week of September 3rd to September 9th, the first full week of September. Venus's retrograde in Leo is ending on Sunday, and Jupiter's retrograde in Taurus begins on the same day. And you're kind of in the middle going, I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's actually affected the Venus retrograde not being anywhere near my sign and not really having any planets that are interacting with it in any way has still been very difficult. And so if you have been dealing with any challenges within your relationships, with love, self-love, love of others, love to others, love for others, love from others, that's gonna all calm down for you guys, which is nice. It's gonna calm down for everybody, hopefully, because woo, it's been a doozy. Okay, we still have the Mercury retrograde going on this week and into next week in Virgo, another mutable sign. And Virgo is and actually Mercury is your ruling planet. It's also Virgo's ruling planet. So the two signs can be very similar to each other. I think Virgos tends to be more into themselves. They too tend to have a higher ego, although the Gemini ego is just a little different. You don't have to prove to people that you're awesome. They should just already know, kind of a thing. So the Mercury retrograde continues. And we are talking about specifically communication issues around your career or your job or your money-making source or what have you. And there's a couple of things that come up around that are probably going to become bigger issues about midweek when the moon comes into your sign Tuesday and Wednesday and kind of comes in to influence that in good and bad ways. So let's look at first Tuesdays. The moon comes into your sign. First of all, for Gemini, focus is on finances, but the moon comes in to put that emotional influence on your relationships, which is really frustrating. But also, at the same time, the moon moves into a grand trine with Mars and Pluto. Now, Mars is focused on those that support you, while Pluto is focused on the mind and how the mind works. Now, this is actually a very interesting sort of thing that we are taking out of the Venus retrograde, okay? Because I've gone through a lot of this personally myself in the last few weeks with the Venus retrograde, being an intellectual, non-emotional sign, just like you guys. And one of the biggest lessons for me in that is that it really is not about what I'm getting in the relationship. I mean, yes, it's important, obviously, that you do get what you put into it, okay? But I think sometimes we get a little bit caught up on, I'm not getting exactly what I want. I'm not being talked to exactly the way I like to be talked to. I'm not being treated the exact way I want to be treated. And we start to get so stuck on those things that we almost forget how we want to be treated or how we want to be talked to. And then it just creates this pattern, communication pattern in the relationship, which is really frustrating and potentially destructive. So I feel like the moon is kind of sort of coming in to bring these influences together and show you that, first of all, Pluto's influence is saying how you think about this situation really makes a huge difference in the outcome of the situation. The more stinking thinking is going on, the more angry and frustrated you're going to get, and the more likely you're going to continue the arguments, if that makes sense. And that could be happening with that other person, yes, but that's not up to us. That's up to them. It's up to you to work through your thing, and it's up to them to work through their thing. But we don't get a say if they choose not to do that. I know it's so frustrating, but that is what healing is. It's about letting go of our ego, what we want, and saying, okay, I'm going to let it be what it is. and see what happens. You never know. As we move into Wednesday, the moon moves into a grand trine, not a grand trine, I'm sorry, a grand sextile with Venus, now not retrograde, as well as Mars. So we're continuing that trine with Mars, that really energetic and aggressive support system, which is what Mars is really representing for you. And this also kind of shows you that if somebody is unable to be supportive right now, that doesn't mean that you don't have somebody else that is supportive of you. So, I think a lot of us go through that within our relationships specifically, because of course the moon is still influencing that. The expectation is that person is going to be there to support you at every single time you need them. And that is just unrealistic as heck, And it only took me almost 30 years to figure it out in my own relationship because, yeah, we do have this expectation that you're just going to be on for that person. And they have that expectation for us. And when we don't follow through with it for whatever reason, it does become an issue, trust me. So the less your expectations of that are on your partner, in theory, the less expectations are going to be on you. Because the other thing that I've noticed in my relationships is that my person has a tendency to mimic my actions. So I get the bad ones that I'm putting out at him right back in my face. But I also see that the good things that I'm putting into place, he's also watching and doing. And that is a big deal, okay? Because you start to see that your influence, you're actually influencing something, which is nice. Yes, that door literally just opened all by itself. There's a breeze, okay? It's a breeze. Don't freak out. It's just a breeze. Let's get into Thursday here, and we have the moon sort of leaving your sign, but still very much influencing it in a trine with Saturn. Saturn is retrograde. This is actually also quite interesting because now the moon is influencing finances. We're out of relationships. We're influencing finances now. And Saturn is all about responsibility, and it's retrograde, and it's focused on the home. So we can interpret this one of a couple of different ways, actually. We can look at this as if you're feeling like all of a sudden you're just financially responsible for everything, you have to look at it as, it should be more balanced, or it should be more balanced in the other direction. Somebody else is taking care of all the responsibility, and you need to step it up a little bit, because that is causing frustration. I'm doing a Gemini horoscope and feeling like I'm literally saying what somebody else has been trying to say for a while. And it's not that I didn't get it, it's just all of a sudden one day, the true understanding of it just kind of sinks in, if that makes sense. Really weird stuff. Anyways, the moon is in a square with Neptune a little bit, which is again the little home thing, focus on the home thing. So when you're focused on what you want accomplished, you're not allowing your intuition to sort of guide you to navigate the situation in a successful way, because your ego just wants what it wants. It wants to be right. We're all there. I mean, think about it. Are you watching and you're a woman? You've been there. We have all been there. Men are there too, a lot, We just, for whatever reason, we feel that we should get what we want. And it doesn't always work out that way. Unfortunate though that may be. Anyways, that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do click the link in the description and send me a coffee, because this whole thing is fueled with coffee. If you are listening, that's ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic. I would really, really appreciate it. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic, and I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, make it a great one. You have a choice, and it's definitely more enjoyable to choose a great week, in my opinion. I'll see you guys next week.